Welcome to Stadium Bets, everybody. Here on Stadium, we got Colby, we got Nate, I'm Ben. That is Monty running the sticks. Boys, we're down to the final 4 games of the NFL season. We got 2 more next week and then the Super Bowl. So it's getting down to the wire. We had a pretty decent week last week, though, as you saw on Twitter, hopefully. Yeah, it was all right. You had a good one.
Very good. I lost my best bet because I got greedy with the Rams money line, but the other 6 picks hit, and Colby did a clean sweep, 7-0, including the best bet, which was one of the easier bets you could have had, and I think we were all on it. The over in the Packers-Cowboys game, which you had to feel pretty good when Dak Prescott threw that pick 6 for the game to go 27-0, and then on the last play of the first half, Cowboys score, and of course they're playing from behind, so the game script played out perfectly for an over in that game. And now, usually divisional round, it's known as the best weekend of the year in terms of the NFL because it's usually the 8 best teams. I'm not sure if that's the case this year with some teams we thought were really good earlier in the year out, specifically the Dolphins and the Cowboys, and even the Eagles a couple months ago we would have thought would have definitely been in this round, but still should be a lot of good games and some intriguing young quarterbacks on some of the bigger underdogs for this week.
Colby, you went 7-0. I'll give you the floor. What do you have to say for yourself?
I don't want to gloat because I could go 0-7 this week, but
you can't see him. He's swinging his foot like a giddy. But
what's funny is I told you guys last week to pick my best bet because I didn't care what it would be because I liked all of them. And look at that. I think that's pretty funny. And I said the same thing this week because I like them all. There's nothing I don't like that I'm going to be talking about in a minute.
Look at that. You get your own screen. You get your own solo shot.
And I get this big
right
light
there.
That makes you look like Casper the Ghost. Appreciate this closet that I sit in.
Apologies to the people at home that they have to see that. But 7-0, it's time for you to go undefeated yet again this weekend. We'll start. We're trying to. It's the reverse jinx.
Yeah, everyone
fade
me.
Jinx. We're going to go, we'll start with game 1 of the weekend on Saturday. Game 1, Texans in their lovely Saturday afternoon spot. They go and travel to Baltimore. Texans at the Ravens. The Ravens are laying 9.5. Mm-hmm. Total is 43.5. Colby, we will start with you, Mr. 7-0. What do you like in this game?
I think this is a really intriguing game because the Texans are one of the most dangerous teams in the league at the moment. And by dangerous, I mean they have nothing to lose. They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't have made it this far. They have a rookie head coach. They have a rookie quarterback who is playing his rear end off. Boy, can we just give him a round of applause? Clap, 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 clap. But I love the Ravens here. ESPN, we don't know what they're doing, but we're getting the 9.5. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
If this is the Ravens' year, they have to get it started with taking on, like I said, one of the most dangerous teams in the league. They get Mark Andrews. I always want to say Andrew Jones, but they get Mark Andrews back. That opens up their offense a lot, and I think it's going to be a great starting point for their ride to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to ride with you on that one. I'm going to go Ravens, -9, -9.5. We saw some -7s earlier this week, which we hopped on. There was a sports book that had -7 for some reason. We jumped on that, but I still like the Ravens. You did. I like the Ravens up to 10, to be quite honest. I think because, again, I don't trust the Texans in the weather that's going to be in Baltimore. Not that it's going to be terribly windy or snowy. It's just going to be cold temperatures. I think the wind, Nate, you put 15-mile-an-hour winds, gusting to 30 miles an hour. This is going to be the coldest and most difficult outdoor weather that the Texans have faced all season long. They've played outdoors in Jacksonville. They played outdoors in Charlotte. They've played in some pretty warm weather, not tough weather areas. Now they go on the road to a cold environment against a really tough team at home.
I didn't mention, but they're not like Baltimore. Lamar's not going to make the mistakes that Joe Flacco did last week. You're not going to get those opportunities.
Also true. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get those opportunities. Also, we haven't talked about the Ravens defense and how good the Ravens defense is. They lead the league in opponents' yards per pass, which means they do not give up big chunk plays, and that's a lot of what the offense for the Texans relies on. So I'm going to go Ravens -9. If it keeps going lower, -8.5, I'd love it. I'll take them.
Yeah, I like the under in this game. Not as much at the current number, 43.5, since 44 is a key number in terms of NFL totals. But if he does get back to 44, I'd recommend a bet on the under. Got to mention it here, a Houston team that's used to playing indoors, that relies on the explosive pass game.
Yep.
And now they're going outdoors, and we saw about a month ago, they really struggled against the Jets. I know the Jets do have a good defense, but it was very, not cold weather, but chilly. It's going to be colder this Saturday in Baltimore with weather in the 20s. But there was rain in the mix, and here we're going to have some wind. So I do think Houston's going to struggle to score. against a defense that's coordinated by Mike Macdonald, who's been awesome as a coordinator. He's getting head coach looks. He was at Michigan for a little bit and then came over to Baltimore to help out the other Harbaugh. I just feel like he's going to make the adjustments with extra time to prepare for this game that the Browns didn't do, who played way too aggressive against the Texans, and the Texans took advantage of them. I think Baltimore is going to play a lot more smarter and maybe a little bit more conservative, and it's going to suit them well because last week's offensive output for the Texans was indoors in perfect conditions, and this is going to be far from perfect conditions. Plus, you look at the scoreboard, Texans did have 45 points, but 2 of them were on pick sixes, and I just feel like the Ravens are, like you said, going to keep stuff in front of them like they have been doing all year. So, like the under in this game, I do think it's very likely that the Ravens win. It's actually funny that this game was a rematch it's a rematch of Week 1, and I know no one cares, but I used the Ravens as my survivor selection that week against the Texans because I thought the Texans would be one of the, well, it didn't really matter because I lost in like Week 12, but yeah, so it's just funny how we've come all this way and the point spread's pretty much the same and the total's pretty much the same, and the Texans are a lot better than we thought, and I guess the Ravens are better than we thought, but was pretty high expectations for them as long as Lamar Jackson was going to finish the season like he did, all healthy. So kind of intriguing that it's the same side in total pretty much from Week 1, even though a lot has changed. But yeah, I like the under here. Probably my weakest opinion of the 4 games, but I'll go under.
Let's go to the game 2 on Saturday night. Packers at the 49ers out in California. 49ers laying the 9.5. Also kind of a big spread in this one. 50.5 is the total. It's been fluctuating. 51 it hit at some points, down to 49.5. We saw it some others. Nate, we'll start with you. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, I like the under here, and it's a little dangerous going under in a Packers game, especially after what we saw last week against Dallas, where they were able to score. But their defense that we know have given up big plays in the last month of the season is kind of vulnerable. Now they get the 49ers offense, who should be able to score in this game. In terms of weather, it's another outdoor game, but it's going to be warmer. It looks like a classic Bay Area night where it's in the 50s. There was some rain in the forecast early in the week, but it looks like that's subsided. But make sure to check that because there is rain in the forecast Friday and Sunday, so maybe the system kind of lingers into Saturday or maybe comes early than expected. But under for me in this game, I know it's a little scary, but I do like that you have the 2 head coaches being very familiar with each other from 2 prior playoff meetings. Plus, they were on the same coaching staffs in Washington from 2010 to 2013 under head coach Mike Shanahan, and then LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan were on the same Falcons coaching staff too. When the Falcons, I think it was when they made the Super Bowl, or maybe the year before they made the Super Bowl, and Kyle was the offensive coordinator. So when you have the familiarity, and I think both coaches know what each other they're going to want to do, I kind of always lean under here, and I just think there's a little bit of an inflated number in this game with the Packers coming off that huge performance against the Cowboys, and the 49ers, who should be well rested, are going to have a better defensive performance than Dallas did.
I'm going to take that under and just stick it with a team and go team total under for the Green Bay Packers. It's a little scary. I'm a little nervous.
Give it to me, Ben.
I'm sweating it a little bit, but Colby, I know you love me for this, and I'm glad that we both like this, but I'm going to go team total under for the Packers. I think, personally, the bye really helps this 49ers team. As we talked about, it gets their defense right. They already have one of the best defenses in the league, and San Francisco runs the ball a lot as well, and Green Bay's rush defense isn't great, so I would imagine the game script is going to call for San Francisco to run the ball, which means tick, 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 tick. You get a lot of clock running in this game. You don't get a lot of opportunities for the Green Bay Packers to really push the ball in the way that they do it, and the passing defense for the 49ers is really good as well. They're 5th, I believe, in EPA per opponent drop back. So you have all that together. You put a team off a bye who's ready to play at home against a team and a quarterback that's like riding their height right now, and everyone's loving Jordan Love. Everyone's loving this offense. Time for them to get brought back down to earth. Let's go Packers. Team total under. Colby.
This is a very rare play for me. It's not going to be up in the graphic because it wouldn't fit. But I like the under and I like the 49ers. On the spread.
Are you doing a parlay?
No, I like it. We'll do it straight. I'm not a parlay guy. I'm not a parlay guy, but I'm gonna wait for the spread to drop a little bit, praying it drops a little bit. Because 10-ish is scary to me, but 49ers are loaded. They're loaded, and I don't think that Jordan Love is ready to deal with Chase Young and Nick Bosa every single time he steps back. I don't think the Packers are going to be ready for this. This is why I love your team total under, Ben. And
I've got more on that later, by the way.
The only thing I'm worried about is the 49ers going ballistic on the Packers defense. How is this defense going to be ready for Brock Purdy, CMC, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and many more people?
Maybe no Jair Alexander, too.
And this team is coached a lot better than the loaded Cowboys team that they just faced. Also, no Mike McCarthy. No problem for the 49ers.
Really should have seen that coming last week for my Dallas bet. Never want to put money behind McCarthy. Yeah, it's going to be a fun game, I think. Colby's got a reputation to uphold, undefeated in the playoffs. We got two more games.
Mentioning that.
We got two more games we wanted to talk about on the Sunday slate. We'll take a break, talk about those next. You're on Stadium Bets. Welcome back to Stadium Bets. Here on Stadium, we're talking some NFL playoffs. We're going to get to the Sunday games now. We have some fun matchups. We'll start in Detroit, boys. We got the Buccaneers at the Lions. Nate said it. There's not going to be weather affecting this game in the Dome in Detroit. And Nate, we'll go to you first. What's some background people need to know about this game?
Yeah, so believe it or not, these two teams played in Week 6. And if you told me when these two teams played in Week 6 that this would be a future NFC Divisional Round game, I would have thought you're crazy. But anyway, the game was played on October 15th. The Lions won 20-6 in Tampa Bay. The point spread was Lions -3. The total was only 43.5, so kind of a big jump that we're seeing on the screen where the total right now is 48.5, and the game went well under. But there was a lot of injuries on both teams, and also the Lions defense has gotten worse, and I think the Buccaneers offense has gotten better, and then the Lions offense just operates better in the cozy conditions of Ford Field in Detroit, where this game is being played Sunday afternoon.
Colby, we'll go to you first for your pick. What do you like? I think we all like something similar here.
Yeah, I can't bet either side because I love Baker Mayfield too much.
You do.
And I think that man needs to get paid. He's a bad, bad man. He's always been dangerous. They just kept doubting him, and the chip just kept big. The chip right here on his shoulder just kept getting bigger.
Such a wild guy to really stand for. I respect it, though.
The over is the play here. Both offenses are electrifying, and I do not think either defense is going to be able to stop one another. Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, the whole thing. Amon-Ra St. Brown with his blue hair. I don't know how he did it. You only won by 1 point.
You faded the blue hair?
The blue hair. It worked. It worked. I really don't have much. I just love the over. This is my plum play. I couldn't write anything down because I liked it, and I couldn't tell you why. I'm sorry. It's a bad handicap by me, but blue hair, fade it.
Well, Nate had a good point about how the defense for the Lions has definitely regressed a little bit, and the Buccaneers offense has gotten a lot better. I also like the fact that it was 20-6 in the last game with such a high total, and the total moves up even after that. I think that's a good sign that betting the over may be the right play here. And if you watched anything of the Buccaneers game on Monday, I mean, they probably should have scored even more than they did. Their offense should have been better. You had drop passes by Mike Evans. I mean, Baker was slinging the ball. He looked really good. His passes were on point. And I don't really see that regressing at all because of how bad the Lions can be defensively. I mean, it's night and day between their offense and defense. So they're going to score a lot of points. The Lions will probably give up a lot of points as well because it's inside. There's not going to be any weather issues for them. And the Buccaneers offense looks like they're humming right now. So the over to me seems like the smart play here. 6.5 is such a weird number for a Lions team and a Buccaneers team that really can go either direction. Dave, take the over with the total.
Yeah, and I also like over in this game, over 48.5. A lot of the reasons you guys said. It's kind of crazy. The Lions game stayed under the total last week. After it was halftime, it was 21-17. They scored 3 touchdowns on their first 3 drives, and then they kind of stalled a little bit. Had some empty possessions. There was that controversial call at the end of the first half where the guy in the Rams probably jumped off sides, but they called a false start on the Lions. So that was a kind of a sketchy call, one of many sketchy calls in that game. But at the same time, the Lions gave up a lot of yards to the Rams, but they held strong in the red zone 3 times to hold the Rams to field goals. So in that case, I could see, the Bucs maybe finishing some of those drives, and the Lions maybe instead of stalling at halftime offensively and stumbling a little bit, actually continuing to score. So I do see a big shootout potential in this game at Ford Field on Sunday.
Go to game 2, Sunday night. Big one. Chiefs at the Bills in Buffalo. Bills, depending on where you're getting the number, Bills laying 3, maybe laying 2.5. Total 45.5. Now, the weather is important for a game, of course, in Buffalo. It doesn't look like it's going to snow that much. However, it will be cold. Not as cold as what KC played in or what Buffalo played in, honestly, this past week, but it's still going to be cold. Upper teens, 10-mile-an-hour gusting winds. Nate's kind of our meteorologist for this week with all these notes.
Doctor.
But with the weather not going to be as big of a factor as the last 2 weeks, Nate, we will start with you. What do you like in this game?
Yes, I'd say the spread for this game is 2.75, where if you do like the Bills, you could lay -2, -120. If you do like the Chiefs, you can get +3, -115s out there, -120s out there. Let's see where this line goes. If I had to predict, I think it will go into Kansas City's direction because the Bills' injury report right now is a complete mess, especially on their back seven. They had another number of guys get hurt in the game on Monday against the Steelers. Terrell Bernard, Spector, Johnson, and Benford. All cornerbacks or linebackers, so I really think that's going to be an issue against a Chiefs offense. I know has struggled this year, but still Patrick Mahomes, and he has the ability to have great performances, as we've seen in many playoffs. It got so bad for the Bills defense last week that a player they signed off the practice squad last week, A.J. Klein, had to become their green dot where the guy on the field who was getting the play calls, and he had 11 tackles. So when they're really relying on guys literally signed off the street who he was about to go on vacation to Florida with his family, and then he's now in a playoff game, it just shows kind of how dire the situation is for Buffalo. But because they are winning and Josh Allen's making highlight plays, it's kind of getting ignored at the perception of Buffalo. I also have to like the Chiefs because of the rest advantage they had this game. They played Saturday night, and the Bills played Monday, and I think that means a lot this time of year. So getting Mahomes as an underdog and all those factors going against the Bills has me on the Chiefs in this game. I want the Bills to win, but Chiefs +3 has to be the bet for me.
I am on the complete opposite side. I mean, I would love to get Bills -2.5. I think for the sake of this, I had -3.
Yeah.
But I like the Bills. I took their money line when it was -135, and if you can get it like under -140 anywhere at any point this week, I would take that as well. I think the Bills win this game, and it's more of a bet against the Chiefs than it is for the Bills, and I just haven't bought in on the Chiefs. I know they played well against the Dolphins, but the Dolphins' defense was a mess. The weather was a mess. This is not a cold weather team, and Mike McDaniel just didn't call a great game. So personally, I think the Chiefs, with their win, it was a good win, but I still am not buying this team. I think offensively they can stall. We've seen that Mahomes very much does not trust his wide receivers, and for a pretty good reason. They drop a lot of balls. Rashee Rice had a good game. I'm not expecting him to have an all-career huge game again against this Buffalo team. To me, it's more of a bet against what the Chiefs can do and how consistent the Chiefs can be than it is for the Bills. So I like the Bills at home with that crowd. Josh Allen seems to be humming. The offense seems to be humming since the offensive coordinator changed. They're running the ball well. Even the Bills, -3. If you can get a -2.5, do it. Colby?
Ben. You make
Solo
such
shot.
great points, and then
Thank
you come
you.
up short.
No.
The Chiefs played a bad defense. Correct. Correct.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
Their defense shut down the Dolphins' defense. They have already been tested. The Bills played, the Steelers, Mason Rudolph. You've been tested real well. Look at you. Go get it, boy. Go get it. No.
What do you say about the whole month of December, though, for the Bills?
They played.
You're not
the
impressed.
Chiefs played fantastic football last week in the frigid cold. They both have been tested. Like Nate said, they get an extra 2 days of rest. That is fantastic. Fantastic. I love the Chiefs. Hammer the Chiefs. +3. That is the play. You played well against the Steelers. Should have put up 40. They shut down Tyreek Hill, and he did absolutely nothing last week. I don't care. Teal. Yeah, like I said, Teal can't play in the cold.
Interesting. Wow. You're all in on the Chiefs now.
All in.
Do you have a rebuttal to that? Because
The dancing, I don't know. I'm a little
You want to
nauseous.
do that? From the chair, though.
Thankfully, they can't see below that. So we're going to take a break. You can gyrate us into a break, Colby. We'll have our underdogs, a fun underdog segment coming up, and, of course, our best bets. That's all coming up next on Stadium Bets. Welcome back. It's Stadium Bets. Colby, Nate, Ben, and Monty running the sticks. We're dressed up because it's our favorite segment of the week. Dogs with bite. Now, there's only 4 games that we talked about, and there's one very short underdog. So we're going to go with 3 teams. We had a choice. Texans, Packers, Buccaneers. Which team do we trust the most to win outright this weekend? Colby, we'll start with you.
Monty, can I get my full screen?
Oh, wow. He's demanding.
Thank you.
Well, one camera on him, he's going to get demanding.
You're going to get your pot, and then you're going to seasonings in, you're going to stir it. We're taking the Bucs, man. Come on. Baker Mayfield, the touchdown maker. Come on. It makes the most sense. Come on. Are you with me, guys? Just here. Let me get a yes.
I made
yes, because they're hot. Their offense is electrifying. And if the Lions defense looks like it did last week, we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah. I could also see a world where the Lions really screw up after a big emotional win at home, and they put everything into that game. And
I said last week, I think this is the week Dan Campbell nibbles too many kneecaps and it bites him on the butt.
Also, the Buccaneers really, again, have nothing really to lose. They're playing with house money.
There's a lot of teams that are in this playoffs that they shouldn't really be there technically, but they're so electrifying because of their storyline. Oh, they shouldn't be here. This is the rebuild year for the Packers. Blah blah blah. Baker Mayfield, replacement. Blah blah blah. They pay the man.
All right.
You have a lot to say.
You had a lot to say for a game you didn't have much confidence in. But I just don't think the Lions are. They got pretty fortunate against the Rams, so I could see them maybe stumbling here against a Bucs team that, as you guys said, has nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. All right, best bets time, gentlemen. We all love the Buccaneers as our underdog, by the way. Our favorite bets of the weekend. We'll start with Mr. Vest over here.
Yeah, let's go Chiefs +3, -120. Just the injury situation for Buffalo is really bad. Chiefs rest advantage. Mahomes is an underdog. The Bills, I know they looked good last week, but it was against the Steelers, so I think it was more bad Steelers than good Bills. So give me the Chiefs.
I'm going to go back to my team total for the Packers. I like the Packers team total under 20.5. I know Colby's going to ride with me for this one. I think regression is coming for Jordan Love and this offense against one of the best defenses in the NFL and one of the best passing defense in the NFL off a bye. Packers, they don't score a lot. Team total under 20.5. Colby, what do you like?
Bucs, Lions, over. Both teams don't have that great defenses, even though the Bucs look good against the Eagles. It's the Eagles. They were in shambles for the second half of the season. I like both of their offenses to get a lot of points over.
And maybe the Bucs win?
Please.
That would be great. All right, you can follow us on Twitter at Stadium Bets. You can follow all of our original handles on Twitter as well. Follow Monty. It's great. Good luck to everyone. We hope Colby has a perfect weekend yet again. No pressure on that. And we'll be back next week for some fun games as well. See you later.